Hi, this is Jane Rosenthal, and you're watching Style Culture News.
All right, so we are taking a journey into the stars where we are going to talk to the innovators behind Nightscape, which is an interactive game created by an amazing Qatar-based studio. So let's speak to the people behind this masterpiece. What brings you here to Tribeca Immersive?
So my name is Tony Davis, and I'm the head of Mizan Studios. And we've been invited out to Tribeca to exhibit our game Nightscape, and it's our world premiere.
Congrats on this world premiere. Nightscape looks beautiful just from looking at the stunning visuals. So can you tell us a bit about the story of this project and what it's really all about?
So this project is from Doha in Qatar, and our founder is a Qatari gentleman, and he's our creative director, and he has had this idea for a game for a few years. He's a gamer himself, and he loves playing games and creating things. So he's engaged us to build out the game and make it so that video games in the Middle East are there aren't too many of them, and we want to change that, and we want to have creators in the Middle East reach out to us, and we want to raise the region up in that regard.
How does a game like this really represent the culture of Qatar and the Middle East? And how are you really bringing that culture through in Nightscape?
So Nightscape is about indigenous Arabian astronomy, actually, and we have a cultural astronomer helping us make sure that we stick to the correct lore and the way that the constellations are thought about and the stories about the constellations are expressed in the Middle East. We've done a lot of research into the region, and we've looked at architecture. We've been out into the desert on field trips, looking at the stars in amongst the sand dunes. And we want to get as many biomes of the Middle East into the game that we can. So it's a very diverse area, and there's lots of different things to see, and we want to try to fit as much of that into our game as possible.
I believe that another thing that inspired this project was also the art of the Middle East. So can you speak to how that art inspired the visuals of the project?
Yeah, so we have quite a few museums in Doha, and we've been on field trips, taking pictures and talking to people, looking at the architecture, the arches, the stonework, and the buildings themselves to try and channel as much of that as we can. And also looking at fashion and trying to get our main character, Layla, to look very elegant and flowing as she moves through the world. And we're really inspired by the clothing and the colors and the fabrics of that part of the world.
So what surprises have you come up against when bringing this game to life?
Surprises have been just discovering the amount of lore that is from the region, from the Middle East, the stories that are attached to the constellations. I'm from the West, and so I have a very different understanding of constellations from the Greek side of things, and so learning that the same constellations exist, but they have different names, they have different backstories, has been a bit of a journey of discovery for me.
Now, that has certainly piqued my curiosity, so I have to ask, what are some of the stories that are in their version of the night sky?
So we have a constellation called Jauza, and this is a female huntress in our game, and in the West, that's a different constellation that we would know as Orion. And so in our game, Jauza is responsible for cold wind and the bringing of frost. And we try to build that into the game itself, and we use the powers of Jauza as Layla moves through the world.
I know that in my experience, projects often evolve from their original idea to what they turn out to be. So what are some ways that this project evolved from the beginning to the end, and some ways that it might have changed?
We looked at different game styles for the game. We wanted to make sure that the night sky was always prominent. We think of it as our cinema screen. So earlier versions of the game, they weren't quite the right fit. Now that we're on a 2.5D version, we can control what the player sees, we can control how the action happens, and we can make sure that the night sky is the biggest part of the game. We want that to be our differentiator, and so that when people see constellations and stars, they want to think about Nightscape and that's how we are different from the other games.
As you can see with beautiful games like Nightscape, games and immersive experiences are letting us connect and have fun in brand new ways, and they're also letting us get a taste of cultures we might otherwise not have learned about. So I'm really excited about games like Nightscape, so thanks for speaking with me today, and I can't wait for all that this game will do in the future.
Thank you so much, Anatola.
Wow, all in one room, we went to outer space, the past, the future, and more. It's so clear that immersive and interactive experiences are letting us ignite our imagination in ways that have never been done before. Innovation is a catalyst for growth, and these innovators are bringing us brand new ways to learn, connect, and experience stories. I'm Anatola, and thank you for watching Style Culture News. The future starts here.